So Lord Kapila is instructing his mother, Devahuti. In the previous chapter, it is describing the fundamental principles of material nature. The last verse in the previous chapter has got a reference in this verse that we read today. So the last verse says, therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge, acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that super soul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. And in reference to that verse, this verse continues because it says here the personality of God at Kapila continued. When the living entity is thus unaffected by the modes of material nature, because he is unchanging and does not claim proprietorship, he remains apart from the reactions of the modes, although abiding in a material body. So this obviously is describing the position of a devotee engaged fully in devotional service, even though such a devotee is in the material world, even though he is in a material body, he is unaffected by the gunas. He is unaffected by the gunas, and he is situated in a liberated condition. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikhilaswapi avasthasu Jivan Mukta Sauchyate. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami describes this condition of the devotee who is fully engaged under all circumstances in devotional service with his mind, body, and words. Such a devotee is described as Jivan Mukta. Means even though he is residing in a material body, he is completely liberated. He is unaffected by the body. Body refers to both the gross body and the subtle body. How does it work? That Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. Of course, Lord Kapila has given one example. Jalarkavat. Just as the sun remains aloof from its reflection on water. The sun is actually very, very far away from a water body. So the sun is unaffected by the movement of the water or the condition of the water. Even though the reflection of the sun appears to be moving or distorted or is sometimes not having the full effulgence, not giving full light, may appear very dull. The water is muddy. In any case, the sun is completely aloof from its reflection in the water. Similarly, the devotee, even though in the material body, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is situated in what is called as unchanging position, avikara. So avikara is explained by Prabhupada in the purport as the eternal position of the living being. Eternal means that which is always existing, always true, under all circumstances. So, what is that position? That position is that he cooperates or dovetails his energy with the Supreme Lord. In that position, he is unaffected by material modes, material nature, even though he may be in the material world, or even though he may be in a material body. And as soon as a living being employs his energy for sense gratification, his position is called vikara. His position is called vikara. It's a changed position. The soul as such does not change. The soul is always spiritual. Asangoyam purushaha. In the Vedic language, asanga, always the living entity, the spirit soul, is always asanga. It's never contaminated by matter, even though he comes in contact with this material world or material nature or material modes. Nevertheless, his position is described as changed, vikara. What is that changed position? He misuses his free will to employ his energy for sense gratification. And that position is described as the conditioned state of the living being. The conditioned state, the state of material bondage. So, when such a living being who is bound up in this world engages in devotional service under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, he returns to his original position. He immediately returns to his original position. And here, another word is used, avikarat akartrutvat. Akartrutvat means not doing anything for sense gratification. It is not that activities have to completely be stopped, as some class of philosophers think. Material activities are the cause of bondage. So they want to stop material activities, and they have no understanding of activities on the spiritual platform, activities in the liberated condition. So they stop all activities, and that is artificial condition of the living being, because the nature of spirit is to be always active. Always active. So if one is not active in the material, in material way, then one has to engage in spiritual activities. So spiritual activities are called devotional service, bhakti yoga. So this is a very, very confidential knowledge. The non-devotees mistake devotional service to be like material activities. Although they say it is like sattvic, it is pious activity. But unlike pious activities or sattvic activities, devotional service is never binding the soul to this world. This is another important revelation in the confidential knowledge given by Krishna that even the mode of goodness is binding the soul to this material world. Some people think Rajoguna, Tamoguna is bondage, but Sattva-guna is liberation. Even the Bhagavatam, what does it declare? Sattvam yad Brahma darshanam. Bhagavatam declares Sattva-guna is superior to Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Because in Rajoguna, Tamoguna there is illusion and ignorance. But in Sattva-guna there is Brahma darshanam. There is realization of Brahman. Self-realization. But Sattva-guna in this material world is always tinged with mixture of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. There is no pure goodness except in devotional service. Only in devotional service there is Shuddha Sattva, there is pure goodness. If somebody is not engaged in devotional service, even if such a person is engaged in sattvic activities, such sattvic activities are tinged with contamination of the lower modes, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. There is a very nice instance in the Bhagavatam. There was this Brahmana by name Vishwarupa. Once when Indra not insulted exactly, he neglected to offer proper respect to his guru, Brihaspati. Then Brihaspati thought that Indra has become very puffed up. So Brihaspati silently went away from Indra's kingdom. And then Indra realized his mistake and started searching, where is Brihaspati? What is Indra's position? Always he has to be protected. And he depends on Brihaspati's directions, his guru's directions, for properly engaging in different activities like sacrifices, in order to retain his position as the king of the heaven, and also to defend himself against the attack of the demons. This is Indra's position. Always the threat is there for Indra. Any time the demons can attack, and then he can lose his position, he can lose his power. So Indra always has to be vigilant, performing sacrifices. He has to be protected. So when he lost Brihaspati, then he became very anxious. Then Brahma advised him that you foolish fellow, because you have neglected to offer proper respect to Brihaspati, therefore Brihaspati has gone away. Now you have no other recourse than to appoint another proper suitable priest. It's very risky for you to be without a priest. So then, on the advice of Lord Brahma, Indra appointed Vishwarupa, another Brahmana. But this Vishwarupa, his father was a descendant of the demigods, and his mother was a descendant of the demons. So he was the son of a mixed marriage. between somebody belonging to the family of the demigods and family of the demons. So, when Vishwarupa was offering oblations in the sacrificial fire, he would loudly chant, Idam Indraya Swaha, Idam Agnaye Swaha, offering oblations to the demigods. But silently, feeling affection for his mother also, he would offer some oblations for the demons also. One day, Indra detected this. He became very angry. And in anger, Indra cut off the 3 heads of Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa had 3 heads. So he cut off the 3 heads of Vishwarupa. And then Vishwarupa's father, Vishwarupa died. So Vishwarupa's father became very angry against Indra. This is the material world. This feeling of I and mine is very, very prominent even among the residents of the upper planets. Though they have so much knowledge and they have so much of power in terms of performing sacrifices and getting so many facilities, so much of mystic power, etc. But still, the feeling of I am this body or some bodily possessions of mine, that doesn't easily go away. So Tvashta, Vishwarupa's father, another great Brahmana, he became very angry at Indra. He said, I'll teach Indra a lesson. So he performed another sacrifice in which he wanted to generate a personality who would be powerful enough to kill Indra. So, while performing the sacrifice, he chanted one mantra wrongly. Instead of chanting, O enemy of Indra, flourish, Indra Shatro Vivardhasva, he chanted, Indra Shatro Vivardhasva. So, Indra Shatro, the short ending of that word became long and the meaning changed. What are the change in meaning? Instead of enemy of Indra, flourish, it became Indra, who is the enemy, flourish. Is that, see, Sanskrit grammar is so very, 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 very precise. Shashti, Vibhakti became Tatpurusha Samasa. I mean, this is technical. For those who know Sanskrit, they can understand this. The meaning completely changed, became opposite. So what happened? By that sacrifice, a personality was generated, but that personality was not powerful enough to kill Indra. The sacrifice made Indra strong enough to actually kill the personality, the enemy of Indra. Indra became empowered to kill the enemy by the sacrifice of Tvashta. Not the enemy of Indra who was born was powerful enough to kill Indra. The intention was, Tvashta, the intention, to kill Indra. Because Indra killed his son. Revenge. But instead what happened? A personality was born who would be enemy of Indra, but he was to be killed by Indra. So this personality appeared like a big demon when the sacrifice was over, he was dark complexioned. He was very fearsome. He was very tall. His head touched the clouds. When he yawned, he seemed to swallow up all the stars and the luminaries in the sky. He was such a big demon, and he was having a huge trident. And when he walked, the whole earth trembled as if there was a big earthquake just by his walking. So the demigods immediately became afraid of this personality, and they went to attack and immediately kill this demon. But this demon was not easily to be killed. So whatever weapons the demigods used, simply this demon would hold with his hand and just throw it like this. Or if they aimed at his mouth, he would swallow up whatever weapons they aimed at him. So Indra was completely baffled. He, along with his associates, went to the Supreme Lord Vishnu and prayed. And Vishnu, being pleased with the prayers of Indra, directed Indra to prepare one special weapon from the bones of one rishi, Dadichi Rishi. So Indra was very hesitant. How can I go and ask Dadichi Rishi that you give me your bones? I want to prepare one thunderbolt weapon to kill one demon. So the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he assured Indra that this Dadichi is completely detached from his body, and he considers that if his body can be used for some real welfare activity, that will be the best use of his body. He is ready to give up his life, give up his body for a good cause. So just approach him and describe your purpose for asking for his bones, and then he will happily, very easily, very nicely, he will accept your request. So Lord Vishnu assured Indra. So Indra went, and as Lord Vishnu had directed him, Indra requested, and Dadichi Muni, he gave up his life. So using his bones, Indra prepared that thunderbolt weapon, and he came to attack, to kill this Vritrasura. But still, Vritrasura was not easy to be killed like that. For some time, Vritrasura actually, he resisted Indra's attempt to kill him. And finally, Vritrasura decided that he better quit his body, dying in this battle, to actually go back to Godhead. So when Indra was not able to actually kill Vritrasura, this demon's name was Vritrasura. So Vritrasura began to encourage Indra that you should do your duty, I should do my duty. And then Vritrasura offered wonderful prayers to the Supreme Lord. So one of the prayers Vritrasura offered, I will read here, many prayers are there. This actually indicates how Vritrasura actually was a devotee. And the characteristic of a devotee is that he is completely detached. A devotee develops, that's what is said here. Janayati ashu vairagyam vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitaha janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam cha yadahaitukam. Without separate endeavor, one engaged in devotional service to Vasudeva, Krishna, develops automatically, very quickly, detachment and transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada is quoting that verse in this purport. So Vritrasura is the example of a great devotee who automatically had developed detachment and transcendental knowledge. So he had the knowledge that ultimately my goal is to go back to Godhead. And the necessity of detachment for going back to Godhead, it's not enough if we have transcendental knowledge. We should also be materially detached. Now, to what extent can a devotee develop detachment is described here in this prayer by Vritrasura. Na nakaprishtham na cha parameshtham na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. The meaning of this prayer is, O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka. Naka Prishtham, heavenly planets or Dhruvaloka. Among the heavenly planets, the topmost is Dhruvaloka. Na Naka Prishtham, na Parameshtyam, the planet where Lord Brahma resides. Brahma is also called Parameshti. So Parameshti means I do not even desire Brahmaloka. Na Parameshtyam, na Sarabhaumam. I do not want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets. Na Sarabhaumam. Na Rasadhipatyam, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of the lower planets, lower planetary systems. These are all various positions of enjoyment, of power, of lordship. The heavenly planets, Brahmaloka, the earthly planets, the lower planets. Basically, there is this three worlds: the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and the lower planets. And then above all these three worlds is the Brahmaloka. So, a devotee like Vritrasura, he is praying, I do not want lordship of any of these planetary systems. He also says, Na yoga siddhim, I do not even want powers of mystic yoga. Because mystic yogis think that if they have mystic power, then they don't even care for any particular position in this world. Because by their mystic power, they can transfer themselves to any place they want. And in that way, they consider their position to be superior to even the rulers of the different planets or planetary systems. So, Vritrasura is praying, I do not even want Yoga Siddhi. Then, finally, a person may not desire any of these positions, nor even mystic power, but somebody still having a material desire may desire liberation from material bondage by merging into the existence of the Supreme Lord, or by merging into Brahma Jyoti or Brahman, effulgence, a spiritual sky. impersonal conception of the absolute. So even that a devotee says, I do not want. I do not even want liberation by merging. So in this way, it is very clear that a devotee of the Lord is completely detached simply because of devotional service. So there is no other way of attaining this level of detachment. 100% detached, completely detached, except by devotional service. This is what the Bhagavatam is teaching us. Though there are so many other methods of practicing detachment, of developing detachment, all other methods of developing detachment will only give us partial detachment, will never give us complete detachment. So the only way is devotional service. So therefore, Bhagavatam declares, simply engage in devotional service. You will automatically develop complete detachment. And there's no need of any other type of engagement. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.